you should take advantage of CVM TV's unbeatable small business advertising package. Trust me.
And get your goods and services in front of your customers today.
For $150,000, you get a high-quality professional commercial.
Plus 20 prime-time commercial spots.
That's massive exposure at a fraction of the cost.
Including on the #1 morning show in Jamaica, Sunrise.
So don't wait. Call us on 658-208-5377 and see your business goals happen right here on CVM Television.
Steve knows style.
That jacket! When was you in the Temptations? You are my alter ego.
And Steve gives in to his own temptation. Family Feud.
Brought to you by We Are the Caring Store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us today.
This is CVM News at noon for Thursday, May 8, 2025. I'm Courtney Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us. White smoke has emerged from the chimney in the Vatican, signaling a new pope has been elected. The new pope is expected to appear on the balcony overlooking St. Peter's Square in the next hour. We now go live to the Vatican media for the feed.
And as I believe, TJ, you mentioned earlier, or no, Father Bob, you mentioned it will be in Latin. And yes. So we'll all be brushing up on our Latin in between, now and then. So yes. That's, we will have the name correctly. And then we'll also get to hear the name that the new Pope chooses.
Yes.
To be
I
his
think
new
the name is always also interesting because it kind of gives this vision of what he wants to do with the Papas. Probably not what he wants to do, but what he, what inspires him. And Father had an anecdote there. I also have one. And when Pope Francis chose the name Francis, one of the Jesuits in Zambia told me, we were so excited because we thought he was chosen Francis Xavier.
Yes. And actually, it was the next morning that Francis clarified that this was Francis of Assisi. So.
Yeah, it's true because a lot of people were trying to guess and figure it out.
That's right. When he met with journalists, he explained the origin of the name that he took and why.
Well, and it's special, like you mentioned, Father Paul, right? So it usually drives an idea of what the focus might be for the pontificate choosing this special name. And we had mentioned earlier, right, that the person, I think it was Liz that mentioned, it is
We'll continue to monitor this story, and we'll have the Archbishop of Kingston later on in this newscast. Now, to Jamaica, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is again encouraging teacher training institutions and other tertiary education facilities to hone the skills of professionals the country now lacks. He notes for the first time the country is grappling with issues surrounding a shortage of skilled labor, and it must be addressed with alacrity.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness is again challenging tertiary bodies to pump more time and investment into filling the gaps for the advancing workforce. This as he shares the deficit of skilled labor in the country.
More technicians, more healthcare professionals, more data analysts and data scientists, more programmers, more persons who are involved in robotics, mechatronics, all kinds of new work is emerging, and we simply just don't have the trained labor force to fill them.
He shares more teachers will be needed to drive this push, and ironically, this comes on Teachers' Day.
And yes, we need more qualified teachers. Yes, we need more teachers who can teach the new emerging professions and skills. And so now, that is the new binding constraint on our growth potential.
The Prime Minister was speaking to students and staff at the Michael Teachers College in Kingston. He had a word for some insisting not much is happening in Jamaica.
When you hear people say, not Nagwan, rubbish that, dismiss them. Because yes, in their world, they are not seeing the macro change. They're not seeing the large picture. And they easily forget when the unemployment rate was double digit, when the debt was over 100%, when inflation was high. Today, it's a different reality. So we have stepped away from that, and we're looking to get onto another rung in the ladder of development. But that rung requires a higher level of skill.
Adrian Williams reporting for CVM News.
In the latest push for economic transformation, the People's National Party's Dr. Andre Horton is urging Jamaicans to shift their focus from minimum wage debates to the broader vision of maximizing national value. Speaking at a PNP divisional conference held in Cornwall Mountain, Dr. Horton outlined a bold economic strategy centered on independence, innovation, and value creation. Addressing party supporters and residents of Cornwall Mountain, Member of Parliament for St. James Western Dr. Andre Horton called for Jamaica to break away from economic dependency and aim for a self-sustaining future, much like developed nations that have used innovation as their springboard.
To create more for the people of this parish. It is not just about sugarcane that is being destroyed. It's about creating value. And I said to them, Jamaica and Singapore export a container of chips each. The value of Jamaica's container of chips, just $100,000 US. The value of Singapore's container of chips, $100 million US. The difference, my friend, is Jamaica is stuck in a banana chips mentality, while Singapore has voyaged in a microchip mentality. This People's National Party government is hell bent in bringing us and our children into a microchip mentality where we can produce and create wealth for all.
At the heart of Dr. Horton's message was a clear call for Jamaicans to embrace technology, not just as a tool for convenience, but as a powerful engine of economic growth.
what kind of leadership has the country been afforded? We're in modern times, comrades. Modern times, your children can tell you that they are using artificial intelligence to do their homework. A year ago, they could not have done that. They are using artificial intelligence to write essays for them. They are using artificial intelligence to devise marketing plans for companies. We are moving ahead in the global economy, but Jamaica seems to be stuck where the government wants us.
He also challenged the national dialogue on minimum wage, urging the government to focus on creating, quote, maximum value, both in personal development and in how the country harnesses its resources.
I want our leaders to recognize that when they go on a trip to create employment, it must be a trip to create high-valued employment, not just employment where we're earning minimum wage. This minimum wage idea was devised by Michael Manley in the 1970s when there was many labor unrest and people didn't want to pay workers. You are telling me after Michael Manley created minimum wage in 1970s, in 2025 Jamaicans are still in cascas over minimum wage? We need to rephrase our mentality and our approach from minimum wage to maximum potential and maximum effort.
His remarks come as the People's National Party continues to shape its economic platform with promises of modernization and economic independence taking center stage. Courtney. Attorney at law Bert Samuels has asserted that Parliament lacks confidence in the nation's judges to effectively carry out their duties. He made the statement during an appearance on CVM's Lead Story while discussing the recent amendments to 3 crime bills passed in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, April 29.
Before the Parliament started to set these minimum sentences which must be given, we used to leave it up to our judges who live in the society, who are aware of victims and what they go through. We used to give them the powers of sentence. Now we are finding that the Parliament is sentencing our citizens. And what that does is, it's an offense to the separation of powers. The way I understand government is to operate. The executive, that is the cabinet, sets policy. They take that policy to the Parliament and they vote on it and pass laws. They hand those laws to the judges, giving them maximum. In other words, they're giving them the boundaries of sentence. So you could say, to the judges, you can go for life imprisonment and you're free to give the number of years that you think each case deserves. Yes. Now, what we have been led to believe, am I to be stopped? What we've been led to believe is that the parliamentarians do not trust our judges. That's what it comes down to.
Stay with us. We'll have more news in a moment.
Excuse me, that looks delicious. Where did you get that pizza?
Pizza Please, best pizza in town.
Pizza Please, the widest variety of pizzas in Jamaica. Grab a slice or order a whole pie. Find us at 4 locations across Kingston and Ocho Rios and at pizzapleaseja.com. Pizza Please, Italian pizzas, Jamaican flavors.
Every day starts with care. Care that's always close. Supermed Family of Pharmacies is where you go for everything you need. From your morning routine to life's biggest moments. Supermed Family of Pharmacies is always by your side. Whether it's prescriptions or household essentials, trust the care that's close to home. Super happy, super healthy, Supermed. Welcome back. Now that we have learned that the Vatican has signaled that a new pope has been elected, for a more informed perspective on the significance of the occasion in ecclesiastical terms, we're joined by Archbishop of Kingston, the Most Reverend Kenneth Richards. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, Courtney.
What do you make of this? Oh, we have live images of the Cardinal on the balcony. So just a moment, we're going to go right to that.
Sancte Romane Ecclesiae Cardinalem Prevost. Qui sibi nomen imposuit Leonem decimum quartum.
So the Pope is Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, who's taken the name of Leo XIV, Pope Leo XIV. Cardinal Prevost is an American, and he spent most of his ministry in Latin America, in Peru, and also in Paraguay. And he's an Augustinian father. He was the provincial in Latin America, and then became the Bishop of Chiclayo in Peru. And he then is also he became the Superior General of the Augustinian Fathers as well. He's now he's been the prefect of the dicastery for bishops.
We see the cardinal electors there appearing on the balcony there as well, with this joy and their smiles on their face.
A great joy indeed, and well, it wasn't one of those joy.
It's a wonderful joy, and he's from Chicago,
yes,
Illinois.
Chicago.
Okay,
An American.
An American.
Yes.
And
an American. I think that's a historic moment
For sure. Truly, truly historic.
And you can see all the cardinals on the different balconies there. For our radio listeners, you may not be able to see this, of course, but they're appearing on all the balconies to the left and right of the central balcony there. All of them clearly standing out with their red vestments and smiles, and
waiting to again for all of us to greet this new pope as well.
To greet the new pope,
which now we know his name.
Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, Augustinian.
Amazing.
And has served as prefect of the dicastery for bishops. A native of Chicago, Illinois, in the United States.
Wow. And so, as we said before, you saw all the flags and everything out in the square, and now all the Americans are holding their flags.
Indeed. It's a historic moment. Who would have imagined?
Too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He spent most of his ministry in Peru.
Yeah, and that's a special thing, so he has a connection with multiple.
Experience
exactly.
And this,
exactly.
The continuation of evangelization mission of the church.
The priority, yeah.
Okay, Archbishop Richard, what can you tell us?
Yes.
How do you feel about this new appointment?
Well, it's exciting. It's a lot of excitement and joy. Joy. It's a good sign that they came to a conclusion on either the third or the fourth vote, because this is the second day, and to have concluded the process means that there's unanimity among the cardinals with respect to the person who they have selected to sit in the chair of Peter, and as Bishop of Rome, and indeed as the Pope of the Universal Church.
How significant of a moment is this for the Catholic Church?
Yeah, and he died in 19.
It's always an exciting moment when there's a moment like this, a conclave, the selection of a new successor in the line of the apostles and to lead the church. And we look forward with expectation, great excitement with respect to what it is that he's going to bring to the table, and the leadership and the guidance and the direction that he'll give. And so we look forward to exciting times, new times for the church and for the world, because the responsibility that he has will not only be ecclesiastical, as a the head of state of the Vatican City. He'll also have geopolitical responsibilities, geosocial responsibilities to address. And so we look forward to the platform on which it's going to stand. Of course, the Catholic Church has a rich platform of body of social teachings to inform and instruct him with respect to the respect for the human person, for that institutions are organized and operated in such a way so as to safeguard the dignity of the person. And so you'll have a body that we refer to as a deposit of faith with respect to that which will be the content that will inform how he will instruct and guide and direct the church.
So, Archbishop, what about the name Pope Leo the 14th? What does that mean?
He was going to be in the square.
Well, this usually the popes, they select names from one of their predecessors. Pope John, the first Pope John Paul I made a deviation, but what he did was actually to combine the names of Pope John, was his predecessor twice ago, and Pope Paul was the immediate predecessor, and joined us too. So we had Pope John Paul